You notice it in your hands first. The stiffness that takes longer to leave each morning, then a bruise on your forearm that used to fade in days and now lingers for weeks. Something is shifting inside your cells and it accelerates after 40. And at the end of this video, you will know which 5 plants to grow in one container that help protect every cell in your body as the years pass. This is Secrets Beneath Nature. Every cell in your body takes damage every single day. Oxygen does it, sunlight does it, stress does it, processed food does it. The molecules responsible are called free radicals, and they chip away at the membranes around your cells, the energy factories inside your cells, and the DNA that tells those cells how to repair themselves. Your body has defenses against this: enzymes, antioxidant compounds, cellular repair crews that work around the clock. But those defenses weaken with age. As we age, our bodies experience a steady decline in endogenous antioxidant enzymes like superoxide, dismutase, and catalase, leaving our cells progressively more vulnerable to oxidative stress. This is not disease. This is the baseline cost of getting older. The supplement industry understood this decades ago. They built a global market around it worth over $400 billion annually. Vitamin C in bottles, vitamin E in soft gels, glutathione in IV bags at wellness clinics charging $200 per session, adaptogen powders sealed in foil pouches at $40 per bag. Every one of those products requires extraction, processing, encapsulation, branding, cold chain shipping, retail markup. Every one of those products generates repeat purchases month after month after month. But 5 plants exist that provide the same compounds those bottles try to replicate. All 5 are container-friendly. All 5 have been grown within arm's reach of the kitchen door by traditional cultures for centuries. Combined, they cover polyphenols and omega-3 fatty acids and adaptogens and glutathione and the vitamins C and E that drive your cellular repair systems. No extraction facility, no capsule machine, no supply chain. You grow them, you harvest them, you eat them. The first one on this list is something you have almost certainly pulled out of your own garden. You may have sprayed it, you may have cursed it, you may have thrown it into the compost bin without thinking twice. And it contains more cellular defense compounds per leaf than almost anything you have ever purchased in a bottle. It grows in sidewalk cracks. It grows between the stones on your patio. It pushes through gravel at the edge of your driveway, and it spreads across bare soil faster than you can pull it. You know it when you see it. Fat, reddish stems close to the ground. Small, thick leaves that look almost succulent. It appears every summer uninvited, and most gardeners in the Western world treat it as the enemy. This is purslane, Portulaca oleracea, and it has been quietly producing some of the most powerful cellular defense compounds on Earth while you are pulling it out and throwing it away. Start with the omega-3 content. Purslane contains the highest concentration of alpha-linolenic acid ever measured in any leafy green vegetable. Alpha-linolenic acid is the plant form of omega-3 fatty acids, the same category of compound that the supplement industry sells as fish oil capsules and krill oil and algae soft gels. Purslane produces it for free in the crack of your driveway. No fishing vessel required, no processing plant, no capsule, no bottle, no shelf, just a leaf. But the omega-3 is not the reason purslane belongs in your cellular defense bucket. Purslane contains glutathione. This is the compound your cells use as their primary internal antioxidant. Your liver manufactures glutathione constantly. It is the frontline defender inside every cell, neutralizing the free radicals that damage membranes and mitochondria. By age 60, your body's natural glutathione production has dropped significantly. The supplement industry noticed. Glutathione capsules now sell for $30 to $60 per bottle. Liposomal glutathione formulations cost more. IV glutathione drips at aging clinics cost $200 per session. Purslane contains measurable levels of this same compound and it grows in gravel. There is another layer. Purslane also contains melatonin at concentrations 10 to 20 times higher than most fruits and vegetables. Most people know melatonin as the sleep supplement sold at every pharmacy checkout counter. But melatonin is not just a sleep molecule. Inside the cell, it functions as a direct free radical scavenger. It crosses barriers that other antioxidant compounds cannot cross. It reaches the mitochondria, where the heaviest oxidative damage occurs during aging. The same compound people buy in 3 milligram tablets at the drugstore grows in the cracks of the parking lot outside that drugstore. Now consider who already knew this. In Greece, families have eaten purslane for centuries. They call it androcla or glystrida and serve it raw in salads with olive oil and feta cheese and fresh tomatoes. Walk through a village market on any Greek island in summer and you will see bundles of it stacked next to the lettuce. In Mexico, they call it verdolaga and stew it with pork and tomatillos and fresh chilies. Street vendors in Mexico City sell verdolaga tacos from metal carts on the sidewalk. In Turkey, purslane has appeared in meze spreads for generations. In India, village markets sell fresh bundles of it every morning before the heat arrives. Across every continent except Antarctica, someone's grandmother knew exactly what this plant was worth. No seed company promotes purslane. It self-seeds so aggressively that one planting creates a permanent supply. No supplement company can patent its glutathione because it is not engineered. It is not branded, it is not formulated, it simply grows wherever it is not killed. And for most of the Western world, it is killed on site. Growing purslane requires almost nothing. Full sun, minimal water, warm soil. It thrives in the shallow edges of a container planter where other plants would struggle. Let one plant flower and set seed, and you will never need to purchase purslane seed again. It returns every season without permission, like a guest you stopped inviting who keeps showing up with exactly what you needed. Purslane handles the omega-3 and the glutathione and the melatonin. But there is another compound your aging cells need even more urgently: the polyphenols and the vitamin concentrations that directly protect your cell membranes from oxidative breakdown. And the plant that delivers them grows on the other side of the world in quantities that make every supplement bottle on the shelf look like a rounding error. In the dry zones of northern India, families have grown a particular tree outside the kitchen door for as long as anyone in the village can remember. They call it sajan in Hindi. In the southern states of Tamil Nadu and Kerala, they call it murangai. Travel west to the Sahel region of sub-Saharan Africa, and you will find the same tree growing in village compounds from Senegal to Niger to Chad. In parts of West Africa, they call it nebedaye. Some local translations render this loosely as never die. The English name is moringa. The botanical name is Moringa oleifera. And gram for gram, its leaves contain more protective compounds than almost any single food source ever analyzed. Start with the polyphenols: quercetin, chlorogenic acid, beta-carotene, camphorol. These are the specific compounds that neutralize the free radicals attacking your cell membranes, your mitochondrial walls, and your DNA repair enzymes. Moringa leaves contain all of them. Not in trace amounts, in concentrations that rival or exceed the most celebrated antioxidant foods on Earth. Blueberries get the marketing, moringa gets the chemistry. The vitamin profile is staggering. Dried moringa leaf powder contains vitamin C at roughly 7 times the concentration of oranges by weight. Vitamin E levels approach those found in sunflower seeds. These are the 2 vitamins most directly involved in protecting the lipid membranes that surround every cell in your body. Vitamin C works on the water-soluble side. Vitamin E works on the fat-soluble side. Together, they form a 2-layer shield. The supplement industry sells them in separate bottles at separate prices on separate shelves. Moringa delivers both from the same leaf. The leaves also contain compounds called isothiocyanates. These suppress the inflammatory pathways that your cells activate under chronic stress, the same pathways that over decades contribute to the slow deterioration of joints and blood vessels and organ tissue. Traditional Ayurvedic practitioners in India prescribe moringa leaf preparations for exactly these conditions. They called the tree shigru. They documented its properties in texts that predate modern chemistry by more than 1,000 years. They did not know what an isothiocyanate was. They observed the outcome across generations of patients and recorded what worked. Here is where the economics become impossible to ignore. In the 1990s and 2000s, international aid organizations began distributing moringa seeds and seedlings across sub-Saharan Africa and South Asia. The World Health Organization supported it. UNICEF promoted it. Dozens of national governments funded planting programs. They planted moringa in schoolyards in Senegal. They grew it in refugee camps in Bangladesh. They established moringa nurseries in rural Niger. The explicit purpose was to combat malnutrition because a single moringa tree could provide enough leaf nutrition to supplement an entire family's diet for years. This was not alternative medicine. This was not a wellness trend. This was the global public health establishment acknowledging that one tree could replace a cabinet full of supplements for populations that could not afford bottles, while aid workers were planting moringa trees in village commons across 3 continents. Western consumers were buying individual vitamin C tablets in plastic containers at the pharmacy checkout. No major supplement company funded moringa research in the West during those decades. No pharmaceutical company developed a moringa-based product line. No grocery chain in North America stocked fresh moringa leaves, a tree that produces harvestable leaves within 60 days of planting, a tree that tolerates drought and poor soil, a tree that non-governmental organizations considered important enough to distribute by the millions. And it remained invisible in the country that spends more on dietary supplements than any other nation on Earth. The pattern is not conspiracy, it is structure. A tree you plant once does not generate repeat seed sales. A leaf you harvest from your porch does not generate retail revenue. A food that replaces 3 supplement bottles simultaneously does not generate 3 separate revenue streams. Moringa fell into the same structural gap that every self-sustaining crop falls into. The systems that promote profitable products simply had no mechanism to promote a product that eliminates the need for products. Growing moringa in a container requires a deep pot, at least 18 inches of soil depth because the taproot drives downward fast. Standard potting mix with added perlite for drainage. Full sun, moderate water during establishment, then less as the root system matures. In warm climates, it becomes a perennial that produces year after year. In cooler climates, treat it as a vigorous annual or bring it indoors before frost. Either way, you will have harvestable leaves within 2 months of planting. Harvest often. The more you cut, the more it branches. The more it branches, the more leaves it produces. Moringa floods your cells with the polyphenols and the vitamins. Purslane covers the omega-3 and the glutathione and the melatonin, but there is a third layer of cellular defense that neither of those plants provides, the structural repair layer, the collagen and the connective tissue and the neural protection that hold your body's architecture together as the decades pass. And the next plant on this list has been called the herb of longevity for over 2,000 years for exactly that reason. Across South and Southeast Asia, one small creeping plant has earned a name that no other herb carries. In Sri Lanka, they call it Gotu kola. In the Ayurvedic medical tradition of India, it is classified as a Medhaya Rasayana. This translates roughly as a rejuvenator of the mind. In Chinese traditional medicine, it appears under the name Ji Shui Kao. In Malaysia and Indonesia, they call it Pegaga. But the name that matters most is the one ordinary people gave it across a dozen countries and more than 100 generations, the longevity herb. In Sri Lanka, there is a folk observation that has been passed between families for centuries. Elephants eat Gotu kola. Elephants live long. Elephants remember. Sri Lankan herbalists watched the animals graze on this low-creeping plant in forest clearings and along riverbanks, and they drew a simple connection. The same plant that the longest-lived land animal seeks out might be worth eating yourself. No controlled trial produced this insight, no laboratory confirmed it, generations of watching and correlating produced it. And then modern research arrived and found something remarkable. The traditional observers were not wrong. Gotu kola contains compounds called triterpenoid saponins. The two most studied are asiaticoside and madecassoside. These compounds stimulate the production of type 1 collagen in human tissue. Collagen is not a cosmetic molecule despite what the beauty industry has done with the word. It is the structural protein that holds together your skin, your blood vessel walls, your tendons, the lining of your digestive tract, and the connective tissue between your organs. After 50, your body produces less of it every year. The decline is measurable. The consequences accumulate. Joints stiffen, skin thins, blood vessels lose elasticity, wound healing slows. The supplement industry responded with collagen peptide powders sold in tubs for $35 to $50 each. These products are derived from bovine hide or fish scales. They are processed, hydrolyzed, flavored, and packaged. Gotu kola does not deliver collagen from outside. It encourages your own cells to produce more of it from inside. The mechanism is fundamentally different. One approach replaces from the outside, the other restores the factory on the inside. Research on healthy elderly volunteers found that daily consumption of Gotu kola over a period of 2 months improved working memory and cognitive alertness compared to baseline measurements. The traditional classification as a brain herb aligns with what the clinical observations now support. The compounds appear to improve microcirculation to the small blood vessels that feed neural tissue and reduce oxidative damage in the brain. Sri Lankan families who fed Gotu kola to their elders were not guessing. They were acting on accumulated observation that modern instruments eventually validated. Walk through a market in Colombo or Kandy in Sri Lanka, and you will see fresh Gotu kola leaves bundled and stacked in piles. In Indonesia, the leaves appear in fresh salads called pasel and gado-gado, alongside peanut sauce and steamed vegetables. In Vietnam, street vendors press the leaves into fresh juice with green apple and honey and sell it cold from metal carts. In southern India, chutneys made from fresh Gotu kola leaves are served alongside rice and dal at family meals. Hundreds of millions of people consume this plant weekly. In the average American grocery store, it does not exist. Growing Gotu kola requires moisture and patience. It is a creeping ground cover plant that spreads along the soil surface by runners. In a container planter, it fills the top layer beautifully. It prefers partial shade and consistently damp soil. Keep it moist and it spreads. Let it dry out and it sulks. In a mixed bucket with moringa and the other plants, Gotu kola occupies the surface layer around the base of the taller plants. It acts as a living mulch that holds moisture in the soil while simultaneously producing leaves that help protect your connective tissue and your neurons. Every square inch of soil surface it covers is doing double duty. Gotu kola handles the structural layer, the collagen, the connective tissue, the brain. But there is one more dimension of cellular defense that none of these three plants address: the hormonal stress response. The cortisol that floods your system under chronic pressure and accelerates cellular aging from the inside out. The next plant on this list was considered so sacred in one of the oldest medical traditions on Earth that Indian families planted it at their front door and blessed it every morning. In India, more than 100 million households keep a particular plant at the entrance to their home. Not in the garden behind the house, not on the kitchen windowsill, at the front door, in a clay pot or a stone planter or a raised bed built into the threshold itself. The plant is Tulasi, Ocimum tenuiflorum, holy basil. The tradition stretches back thousands of years and it persists in modern India today. Drive through any residential neighborhood in Chennai or Varanasi or Jaipur and you will see them. Tulsi plants standing guard at every other doorway. In Ayurveda, Tulsi carries the title Queen of Herbs. Families do not keep it at the entrance for decoration. They keep it there because it is the first medicine you pass on your way inside and the last one you pass on your way out. Morning prayers often include the Tulsi plant. Water poured over its leaves is considered purified. This is not superstition dressed as science. This is a culture that spent 3,000 years observing which plants kept people healthier and decided this one deserved the front door. Here is what modern analysis found when it finally looked closely. When your body produces cortisol under chronic stress, that hormone does not just make you feel anxious or disrupt your sleep. Cortisol accelerates wear at the cellular level. It increases oxidative damage inside the mitochondria. It impairs the immune system's ability to clear damaged cells. It disrupts the chemical signals that coordinate cellular repair. Sustained over years and decades, chronic cortisol elevation creates a biochemical environment inside your cells that mimics and magnifies the effects of aging itself. Stress and aging use the same damage pathway. They are not separate problems. They are the same problem arriving from different directions. Tulsi is classified as an adaptogen. This means it does not push the body in one fixed direction the way a pharmaceutical drug does. It modulates. If cortisol runs too high, Tulsi helps bring it down. If the stress response becomes erratic, Tulsi helps stabilize it. The active compounds include eugenol, the same molecule found in clove oil that functions as an anti-inflammatory agent, rosmarinic acid, the same compound found in rosemary that reduces allergic and inflammatory responses, ursolic acid, a compound that supports cellular integrity under stress, apigenin, a flavonoid that calms without sedating. These compounds work across multiple pathways simultaneously. This is not a single target intervention. This is a plant that addresses the system. In Thailand, holy basil appears in the single most popular street food dish in the country, Pad Kra Payo. Stir-fried minced meat with holy basil leaves, garlic, chilies, and fish sauce served over rice with a fried egg on top. Walk down any street in Bangkok and the smell of holy basil hitting a hot wok will find you before you find the vendor. In traditional medicine practices across South and Southeast Asia, Tulsi preparations have treated coughs and digestive complaints and skin conditions and fevers for longer than written records can confirm. The knowledge base spans continents and centuries. Growing Tulsi is almost effortless. It is one of the most enthusiastic container plants in the herb world. Full sun, warm conditions, regular harvesting. The more you pinch the growing tips, the bushier it becomes. It self-seeds generously in warm climates. You can harvest Tulsi leaves multiple times per season from the same plant. In a mixed container planter, Tulsi occupies the mid-height zone, taller than the creeping go-to cola at the soil surface, shorter than the moringa reaching upward from the center. It fills the middle layer of your cellular defense garden, and it does so happily for the entire growing season. Purslane, moringa, go-to cola, Tulsi, 4 plants covering 4 layers of cellular defense, omega-3 and glutathione from the ground level, polyphenols and vitamins from the canopy, structural collagen support from the creeping surface, hormonal stress modulation from the middle tier. But there is a 5th plant that works slower and works deeper and addresses the one thing none of the other 4 can touch. It is not a leaf, it is a root. And it has been part of the oldest rejuvenation tradition in recorded medicine for over 3,000 years. The name ashwagandha comes from Sanskrit. It translates roughly as smell of the horse. Not because the plant smells like a stable, although the root does carry a strong, earthy odor that surprises people the first time. The name implies that consuming the root gives you the vitality and endurance of a horse. In the Ayurvedic tradition, ashwagandha belongs to the Rasayana class of herbs. Rasayana does not translate to anti-aging in the way Western supplement marketing uses that phrase. It means restoring the body's own capacity to repair and defend itself, rebuilding the foundation rather than repainting the walls. The active compounds in the root are called withanolides. These are steroidal lactones that modulate the HPA axis. the communication loop between your brain and your adrenal glands that controls cortisol output. Research on adults taking ashwagandha root extract daily for 60 days measured cortisol levels reduced by approximately 28% compared to placebo. 28%. Consider what that means over years and decades. If chronic cortisol elevation is one of the primary biochemical accelerators of cellular aging, then reducing it by nearly a third does not reverse time, but it removes one of the heaviest weights pressing down on your cellular repair systems. There is a deeper layer to the ashwagandha story. Pilot research has measured the activity of an enzyme called telomerase in healthy volunteers taking ashwagandha. Telomerase maintains the protective caps on the ends of your chromosomes. These caps are called telomeres, and they shorten each time a cell divides. When they get too short, the cell can no longer divide properly. This process is one of the most directly measurable markers of cellular aging. Over the last several years, rigorous peer-reviewed clinical trials have directly evaluated ashwagandha's impact on aging markers, showing measurable improvements in telomerase activity and cellular stress biomarkers. But the direction is consistent with what Ayurvedic Rasayana practitioners documented through 3,000 years of clinical observation without ever knowing what a telomere was. They saw the outcomes in their patients. Modern instruments now measure one possible mechanism behind those outcomes. Every other plant in this bucket is harvested from the leaf. Ashwagandha is harvested from the root. This changes the timeline. You do not harvest ashwagandha in 60 days, you wait months. You let the root develop density and concentration underground where you cannot see it working. The withanolides accumulate in the root tissue slowly, building potency over time. This is the patient plant in the lineup, the one that rewards waiting, the one that teaches you that some forms of cellular defense cannot be rushed. Ashwagandha needs depth and drainage, sandy, well-draining soil in a deep pot, at minimum 12 inches, ideally 18 inches, full sun and infrequent watering once established. It does not like wet feet. Overwatering kills ashwagandha faster than neglect does. In a mixed container arrangement, ashwagandha occupies its own deep companion pot beside the main planter. Separate root space, shared growing station. It stands next to the main bucket like a quiet partner doing its work underground while the leafy plants above do theirs in the sun. Now picture the arrangement. One wide, deep planter, at least 20 inches across and 18 inches deep, sitting on your porch or your patio or a sunny patch of balcony. While you can arrange these 5 plants together on a sunny patio or balcony to create a unified cellular defense station, you'll want to give them separate pots tailored to their wildly different personalities. And beside the main planter sits the deep companion pot where ashwagandha develops its root in silence, building the withanolide concentration that supports your cells at the chromosomal level. 5 plants, 1 growing station, polyphenols and vitamins C and E from the moringa canopy, omega-3 fatty acids and glutathione and melatonin from the purslane at the edges, collagen stimulation and neural protection from the go-to cola at the surface, adaptogenic stress modulation from the tulsi in the middle, deep cellular repair support from the ashwagandha root below ground, 5 layers of defense that the supplement industry sells in 5 separate bottles from 5 separate companies at 5 separate price points. Standard potting mix with added perlite for the moringa zone, a slightly richer moisture-retentive blend around the go-to cola, drainage holes in every container, water when the top inch of soil dries out for the main planter, water less for the ashwagandha pot. Harvest the moringa and tulsi and purslane leaves regularly throughout the season. Let the go-to cola spread. Let the ashwagandha root develop on its own schedule. The system requires less maintenance than a window box of petunias and produces more cellular defense compounds than a shelf full of bottles. The supplement industry built a $400 billion global market selling isolated compounds in capsules extracted from plants that anyone with a bucket and some soil could grow at home. The vitamin C came from plants. The vitamin E came from plants. The omega-3 came from organisms that ate plants. The glutathione precursors came from plants. The adaptogenic compounds came from roots and leaves that traditional families grew outside the kitchen door for centuries before anyone invented a capsule. Nobody suppressed these 5 plants. That is not what happened. What happened is simpler and in some ways harder to accept. No corporation profits when you grow your own cellular defense system. No quarterly earnings improve when a weed replaces a supplement. No marketing budget exists for a plant that self-seeds in sidewalk cracks and asks nothing from you in return. The system that promotes profitable products simply has no mechanism to promote products that eliminate the need for products. But the plants do not care about profit margins. Moringa has grown in Indian dooryard gardens since before the pharmaceutical industry existed. Tulsi has stood at the front entrance of Indian homes since before the supplement aisle was invented. Purslane has pushed through sidewalk cracks in every warm climate on Earth since before anyone trademarked the word antioxidant. Gotu kola has crept across forest floors in Sri Lanka since before the collagen peptide industry was born. Ashwagandha has developed its root in dry Indian soil since before anyone measured a telomere. 5 plants, 1 bucket, they were always there. Nobody had a reason to tell you.